Hello everybody and welcome to race number 13 here at Chicagoland for the MSCA American Ethanol Truck Series. We are getting down to the end of the season. After this there will be 3 more events left. Next race will be at Iowa Speedway, but this is your qualifying. Colin Denton will be able to make the fastest lap run, as he will be able to start at least get the fastest lap in that first set of qualifying. And your 10th place driver will go to the 54 of Fernando Ollieza, who's been having a lot of struggles recently with getting into races. This time, not so much, as these are the drivers who will not make it. Igor Barreto, Mike Montesi, Cesar Chavez, Stuart Gratton, Stephen Thompson, a big surprise there, Gatlin Downey as well, Bob Schwebke, Fraudemar Otz, and Alex Cage all will be missing this race. Here's your starting lineups. Derek Hamill on the pole in the number 87 for William Brock Motorsports, and Al Lagasse in the number 3 for Revolution Racing in row 1 outside. Danny Bouchard in the number 37 is going to start row 2 inside of Arnold von Hindenburg in the number 23. And a pretty interesting third row, Zachary Fitzgerald in the number 33. We haven't seen him up at the front very much, but Isaac Nichols, who had a very good race last time, finishing second to Eric Monaco on the outside. Eli Bright as well, getting a good qualifying position, and Antonino Russo in the number 26, row number 4. Row number 5 is the number 16 of Alexander Rowe, and to his outside, current points leader, Mitchell Henderson. Row number 6 will be Ryan Kendall in the number 23, and to his outside is the number 17, one of the big points contenders, is Nathan Howman. Tanya Breyer in the 38, row 7 inside. To her outside will be the number 64 of Steve Hickman. Row 8 in the inside, a driver who had won a couple races ago at Mid-Ohio, and Rick Witt to his outside. Fernando Ollieza in the number 54, row 9 inside, and to his outside will be the number 80 of Derek Yarworth. Row number 10 will be Dave Kennedy in the number 61. To his outside will be the driver who took out Nick Pericles last week, is Justin Zeidel, or you could say they took each other out. Jack Porkins in the number 07 is going to make this race, and to his outside is the number 90 of Kenny Washington, who's been struggling as of recent. Ace Garcia as well in the 03, going to start row 12 inside, and to his outside as well, another Mercedes, the number 4 of Russ Kamoski. Colin Denton, fastest in that first set of qualifying. Not the fastest here in this set of qualifying. Row 13 inside. Zachary Fitzwater to his outside. Jacob Poole, and we're going to talk about him a little bit at the very beginning, and Tristan Allen will make up row number 14. Giovanni Barraza in the number 92 will make inside row 15, and Jason Kranz to his outside, I believe second in points at the moment. Row number 16, Kieran Pangborn in the number 24, and Kurt Trencherman to his outside in the number 60. Row number 17 will be the number 81 of Jennifer Power, and to her outside is the number 22 of Bill Cox. And then finally, at the very tail end of the field, we get the 67 of Patrick Smith, and last week's winner, who won from the back. Could he do it again? Eric Monaco in the number 36. And we were talking about Jacob Poole. Well, he's going to have a bit of an issue at the very start of the race, and he will not actually complete a lap, so we're going to actually have 35 cars as the green flag flies. Daniel Bouchard in the number 87 taking the green flag. Or not Daniel Bouchard, I'm sorry, that was Derek Hamill in the 87. The 37 of Daniel Bouchard is in, currently looking to the inside of Derek Hamill to try and take the lead. Coming down the back straightaway, and Bouchard will have a almost clear the 87, but I'm pretty sure he will clear him now, as that 37 truck definitely some pickup there at the very beginning of this race, as he's going to pretty much leave the rest of the field in the dust at this point in time. However, Derek Hamill will get up into the second place, will clear the 33, as we might see a race early on for the lead, although unless Daniel Bouchard is going to start pulling away from the field this early into the race. That would be a very boring race if that were to happen. However, the 87 keeping that 37 in his sights. It looks like the 87 is starting to pull up to the 37 a little bit as we head in for lap number 2 to complete lap number 2. Daniel Bouchard currently your leader. And we talked about Fernando Ollieza. He has had some pretty big qualifying woes as of recently. Pretty much this entire rookie season has been pretty bad as far as one of the teams that has been constantly been able to keep at least one truck in the top but he's been able to make a few races and done what he can with them. Right now he's doing as good as he can with them, currently sitting in 10th right now. Behind him is the number 61, Dave Kennedy, who's moved himself up really quickly through the field. But Fernando Ulieza, hoping that he can keep into this team. I don't know. We haven't heard anything about whether or not he will be staying at Jones Motorsports. And Jones Motorsports obviously struggling to keep sponsorship, trying to find sponsorship. Although they do have a pretty decent run with Eli Bright in the 53, so they may keep Eli Bright. I don't know if Fernando Ulieza will be sticking around for this team. Speaking of Eli Bright, he's currently running in third place right now behind two of the drivers whom we've seen before battling pretty much at the very beginning of the season. We haven't seen much of them lately until just now. The 16 and the 37 are 1 and 2 right now, and those two have had a pretty fierce rivalry since the first race of the season. Or actually, since the second race of the season. They both got wrecked in the first race of the season in the same incident, so I guess they've been pretty closely tied together. But Eli Bright hoping to spoil the party in that number 53 Casey's Chevrolet. And he's had a very up and down season, been able to keep himself up in the top 26, which for a driver with this kind of equipment, you really are glad to see, especially when a lot of the other drivers are kind of falling back. He has had a pretty mediocre season, but obviously this team is very young, could prop up a pretty decent season next year. But I see a lot of good things coming out of Jones Motorsports right now, especially with this 53 team. The 59 team of Eddie Jones as well, doing a pretty decent job. Nick Pericles, we talked about him getting wrecked out in the starting lineups. He was wrecked out under coming to the caution flag, where he and Justin Zeidel squeezed between Rick Witt as they went 3 wide. I don't know what the deal was there. No penalties were given, as they really couldn't tell who's really at fault there. And Pericles ended up getting wrecked out, Justin Zeidel as well. But Pericles has had a fast truck all 3 races as of recent, ended up pretty much handily winning Mid-Ohio over Rick Witt in the 68. And we've seen a few drivers come on strong recently. Rick Witt, obviously one of them. Nick Pericles has been another, and definitely has been a pretty decent run for this number 6 truck as of recent. Another truck who has gotten a pretty decent run as of recent is the number 13 of Isaac Nichols, who nearly was able to beat the 36 of Eric Monaco at Michigan last race. Daniel Bouchard still fending off the 16 though, and we might see a pass coming soon. As there we go, the 16 looking to the inside of the 37. We're going to see a battle for the lead here now. And it looks like the 37 has a little bit of a better run on the outside. I don't know if the 16 just doesn't have enough to get by the 37. He's still on his quarter panel, though, as he's got Eli Bright to kind of help him out. And maybe he can get him this time coming around. But Danny Bouchard still powering through. He's at the quarter panel of the 16. They're still side-by-side coming down the front stretch. Danny Bouchard will lead that lap. But we have still got a battle on our hands as the 16 continues to sit on the inside. Now Tanya Brayer's going to join the fray, as well as Zachary Fitzgerald, 2 other drivers who have been kind of lurking towards that top 5 position. And now we've got a 3, maybe 5-car battle for the lead, or multiple different positions at least. Tanya Brayer in the number 38, now getting up to the back bumper of the 16 of Alexander Rowe, but Rowe having to get off the gas. Looks like he got a little bit loose, and that's going to allow Daniel Bouchard to clear him coming off of turn 4. And what a decent battle that was. We kept that up for at least 2 laps there. Tanya Brayer, though, still not done, as she's going to take third from Eli Bright in the 53, and she is definitely a fast truck right now, getting next to and almost looks like she might clear the 16 this time around. Will not actually clear coming off of 4. The 16 got a little bit of a better run off the corner. But Tanya Brayer able to stay side by side, and she'll probably get him coming around this corner this time. But that Black & Decker Chevy is doing a great job. Still hasn't cleared the 16, though. She's now side by side again. Could she take it coming around in this corner? She's got the 6 of Nick Pericles right on her tail now. As it looks like she will clear the 16 coming into turns 3 and 4. And a good move by Tanya Breyer to take over not only third, but now second place. And we could see a new leader coming in as Tanya Breyer quickly throwing away drivers that have given her a bit of trouble in the past, but she's had a pretty decent season thus far, considering where she's been in previous seasons, passing her old team trucks, the number 16 and the number 6. The 76 was actually her old ride last season. And looking back, mid-pack, a bit of an interesting mid-pack here. We got the 88 of Mitchell Henderson, current points leader. Hasn't had the best weekend so far. The 88 currently trying to just keep in front of the points at this point. He's got a few drivers that he's battling with in points, but right now they're somewhere behind him. Looks like they're a little bit farther back than they would like. The 25 of Jason Kranz, the immediate threat, but I believe Nathan Howman in the number 17 is pretty close within striking distance. However, he's also got to watch out for Nick Pericles, who is up at the front of the field. He could potentially go after a second victory here at Chicagoland and close that points gap even further that the 88 has on the rest of the field right now. And that's all that Mitchell Henderson needs to lose a points lead and a points championship. Revolution Racing has definitely done a pretty fantastic job of keeping that points lead, especially without getting any wins. And I believe the first half of the season, and being able to hold the points lead. Coming back up to the front, though, Daniel Bouchard, Tanya Breyer. Tanya Breyer has not been able to get by the 37 Daniel Bouchard, but now she's making a move to the inside. Again, same move she made on Alexander Rowe. Doesn't look like it's going to stick as well as it did with Alexander Rowe. It might do it, though. She's going to clear him coming off of turn 4. You have a new leader. Tanya Breyer will take the lead. And looks like Alexander Rowe's taking advantage of the 37, but again, we've seen the 16. He's just not as fast on the bottom side as the 37 is on the top, and that's definitely been hurting him. However, coming to lap number 58, Daniel Bouchard is going to peel off on the number 37 truck to head for pit lane as we are starting our green flag pit stops. We've been green since the drop of the green flag. Doesn't seem like he would bring a lot of trucks with him, but this lead group is very far ahead compared to the rest of the field. Alexander Rowe will be the next truck to lead the next group off onto pit road. You also saw that the 92 of Giovanni Barraza was there. Nick Pericles will be the next driver to peel off onto pit lane, and that will leave Tanya Breyer all alone in this lead group. All the leaders kind of peeled off one by one, and the next driver will be, in fact, Tanya Breyer in the number 38. She will peel off this time on the next lap. I believe we are on lap 62, and this is where Tanya Breyer makes her entrance into pit lane. And coming out of pit lane, though, as we watch, again, Daniel Bouchard battling with Alexander Rowe. That Amtrak Chevy has just had a lot of speed compared to Alexander Rowe. Rowe's been able to keep up, just has not been able. And there we see Tanya Breyer on the apron, so Breyer with a slow pit stop could have actually lost a lot of time for pitting later than earlier, as Bouchard and Rowe did. They had at least a little bit of drafting help, but Pericles still also not anywhere to be seen. As we can see, these two are still battling it out. The 16 looks like he has a small advantage on that outside lane, but it just does not seem to hold anywhere near true. If you're in Alexander Rowe's shoes, you just cannot catch a break if you're Alexander Rowe right now, because you cannot get by this 37 truck, as Daniel Bouchard has shown that he is probably the most dominant truck on track right now for Dorellis Motorsports, and most likely he will be offered a ride back because he has really proven himself as a driver here in the number 37 machine. Steve Hickman in the number 64, we actually thought that he would do a pretty decent job at Michigan, although that kind of fell short after a lot of incidents mired a lot of trucks at the very back of the field, and he was one of them. I don't believe he got caught up in any major incidents, but he definitely did get caught up in a few of those wrecks, and it did kind of ruin his day at that point. He's had a pretty decent day so far. I believe he's running 5th right now, and so it's been a pretty good day for that 64 team, as they have definitely had some ups and some downs. They definitely had some highs. They definitely have some lows. It's been a up and down season for this team. Not as much so for his teammate in the number 22, but also his next year teammate, the number 33 of Zachary Fitzgerald, as that team will move over to REM next year. The 6 of Nick Pericles has made his way up into the lead. Somehow, I believe somewhere the 16 had taken the lead, and then Nick Pericles took the lead back from Alexander Rowe. It seems like Alexander Rowe's actually gotten a little bit quicker. This 37 has maybe dropped off a little bit in speed, as the 37 has been dominating all day, and now the two Farfham Motorsports trucks are really taking it to him, running in tandem right now here as we come towards the closing laps of this race. But that doesn't mean that teammates can act as teammates the entire time, as we'll see right now. Alexander Rowe will pull out and try to take the lead from his teammate in the number 6. He will have a lot of help behind him, but he's not going to be able to clear him off of 4. Pericles and now Rowe fighting for the lead. Rowe will lead the lap. And Rowe, I don't think he has led very many, if any, laps up into this point. Actually, I believe he has led a few up to this point. It looks like Alexander Rowe may be able to clear the 6 of Nick Pericles coming down the backstretch. He's going to stay on the inside, though, just to make sure that he doesn't end up getting into his teammate. And he's going to take the lead now from his teammate in the number 6 truck. However, that's not going to last long, as Pericles is able to stay right on his back bumper. Tanya Breyer and Daniel Bouchard hoping to watch any mistakes from these two, as they're ready to pounce if any of them make a mistake. And looks like Nick Pericles taking advantage of that. Again, that it's kind of a slingshot move, I guess what you could call that. The 6 gets right up on the back bumper. The 16 pulls out right before they get to the corner. He has a lot more momentum than the 16, and they can, and basically it just essentially slings him around the driver behind, the driver in front of him. However, he's still got a battle for that position, as those two pretty much identically painted cars or trucks are battling hard. Tanya Breyer able to hold off an attempt to take 3rd away from Daniel Bouchard, as Alexander Rowe still holding steady against his teammate in the 6. Nick Pericles not holding up, though, as they are continuing to battle. We're coming down to the very last few laps of this race. I believe we're on lap 105 after this. We have 2 laps to go, as Nick Pericles still has not been able to clear his teammate in the 16. Will he be able to do it this time? It looks like he had the run coming into the corner. He will be able to clear Alexander Rowe. And now Rowe falling back. Tanya Breyer gets off the gas. It looks like she got a little bit loose. That's going to let the 16 that's going to let the 6 of Nick Pericles pull away. And he's going to take the white flag here on lap 107. And now Alexander Rowe trying to get by the 38 for 2nd place. It looks like nobody's going to be able to catch the 6 of Nick Pericles. Could we see a last corner attempt to pass? Doesn't look like it, as the 38 just isn't close enough. The 16 trying to get by him just lost a lot of momentum for the 38 car. And Nick Pericles will be coming off of turn 4. Heading into the tri-oval, he will take the checkered flag. Nick Pericles with his 2nd win in 3 races. And what a fantastic run by those Farfham Motorsports trucks. Alexander Rowe gave a lot of drivers a run for their money, but he just could not come up as the victor. Nick Pericles, however, will take the victory for his 2nd win of the season, and his 2nd win in the last 3 races. Tanya Breyer with a solid 2nd place. We thought she was going to actually take 1st. Danny Bouchard, the most dominant truck all day, will end up sitting in 4th. 5th is Zachary Fitzwater, so a fantastic race day for Farfham Motorsports, although Dave Kennedy did not make it into the top 20, which is one of the big falters of that team so far. Kieran Pangborn with a solid 6th place. Zachary Fitzgerald 7th. 8th, Jason Kranz. 9th, Isaac Nichols. And 10th is Arnold von Hindenburg. 11th, Al Lagasse. 12th, Eli Bright. 13, Mitchell Henderson. And that's a pretty big deficit that he lost. That's a lot of points that he lost to Jason Kranz, but a lot more that he lost to Nick Pericles. Nathan Hellman in the number 17, 14th, 15th, Steve Hickman, 16th, Tristan Allen, 17th, Russ Kamoski, 18th, Rick Witt, and I did not see the last two. Eric Monaco coming back from a 36th starting spot, actually 35th, as Jacob Poole did not complete a lap due to his engine failure. Kurt Trencherman, 22nd. Derek Yarworth, 23rd. 24th, Fernando Olieza, after he had a pretty early run, but just could not continue it. Colin Denton, 25th. 26th, Ryan Kendall. 27th, Jennifer Power. 28th, Patrick Smith. And BCR Mercedes will continue to fall in points. Bill Cox, 29th. 30th is Dave Kennedy. Could not redo the success of his other teammates. Antonino Russo, 31st, 32nd. Justin Zeidel, 33rd. Ace Garcia, and Giovanni Barraza and Jeff Porkins will finish 34th and 35th, both one lap down, which is kind of to be expected. They are running under their own budgets, so obviously a little bit of a slow run for them. Mitchell Henderson, though, still holding the lead, but Nick Pericles moving his way up to second with that second win. Jason Kranz falling to third. He's got to make up a lot more points if he wants to get up to that points lead and attempt to win a championship after he lost it last season in the final race. Kenny Washington in fourth, so he's coming back on his own. Nathan Hellman fifth, Al Lagasse sixth, Daniel Bouchard, and in seventh. Eighth is Arnold von Hindenburg. Ninth, Russ Kamoski, who hasn't really done much since that first win at Texas World. And 10th, Alexander Rowe, who has gotten his way back up into the top 10 after a few times in the top 20. Bill Cox, Antonio Russo, Rick Witt, Ryan Kendall, Kieran Pangborn, Derek Yarworth, Zachary Fitzwater, Eric Monaco, Tanya Breyer, and Eli Bright will make up the rest of the top 20. Top 30 for the drivers who are on the bubble, at least the top, or at least these first six: Steve Hickman, Isaac Nichols, Tristan Allen, Kurt Trencherman, Justin Zeidel, and Jennifer Power. It's kind of a bit of a disappointment for Rogers Racing, knowing that they're only back in the top 30 for all three of their cars. And obviously, Isaac Nichols started out at the very bottom, even missing Texas World at the start. Colin Denton has been making some headway, though he could make it into the top 26. But at this point, these drivers really have no chance of winning the championship. Ace Garcia and Gatlin Downey just trying to make up as much points as they can. And Derek Hamill, with that pretty decent finish, will also do some good for that 87 team. Fernando Olieza, 31st. Chris Malley still holding strong in 32nd. 33rd, Jacob Poole. 34th, Zachary Fitzgerald. 35th, Stephen Thompson. And the rest you can see there. That's going to be it here for Chicagoland. We will see you next time at the Iowa Speedway for the night race here in the MSA American Ethanol Truck Series.